One of the most hardest questions to answer when it comes to DCLA is, which is your favorite episode? Because these shows are not episodic, they are very story-driven, and if you miss one episode, you might miss a part of the story. Now, your favorite episode would rather be your favorite episodes in plural. And in this video, I decided to talk about my favorite Violetta episodes. And some of these episodes might be like 2 in a row in case it's a certain storyline that they are focusing on. They also tend to like have one scene in 2 different episodes, so there is gonna be a bit of that. But I don't think we need to talk more, I think we should just get going because my videos tend to be way longer than I intend for them to be, so let's just go. I'm gonna tell of these episodes in order, not in a ranking order, but rather in a season order. So I'm gonna begin with episodes from season 1 and going season by season. So my first favorite episode is episode 13 of season 1. At first, I was going to say episode 7 of season 1 because episode 7 famously was the episode that got me hooked into the show, but then I realized that the only thing I really remember about episode 7 is the Juntos Somos Más performance, and I don't really remember anything else, so that's why I skipped it. Episode 13 is very dear to me. We have Violetta's newfound friend that is trying to convince her that she needs to audition for the studio, and she's like, okay, let's do it. So she shows them her song En Mi Mundo and sings for them for the first time. And Francesca says that she can come home to her house and they can practice together. And Violetta is so cute because she has never had any friend over before. And this is really the first time a friend ever has come by her house, and it's just so sweet how, like, she finally gets to have some friends. People who care about her and people who support her interests and genuinely want to hang out with her. Plus, her and Francesca's scene in her room is really cute. Francesca, like, randomly makes up a handshake. They never have this handshake ever again, but it's really cute. Honestly, all of these friends, they are so dorky, but they act like they aren't dorky, but really in season 1 you see how cheesy they are, and it's so adorable. My next favorite episode, and this is really my favorite episode in all of season 1, I would say, episode 35. Violetta and Leon just had their very first kiss, and thus the two of them act really lovey-dovey in all of the episode. And it leads to so many funny scenes just by people reacting to the fact that they now are dating. First of all, the scene at the dinner table where Leon has sent Violetta flowers and your man freaks out and like gets a heart attack. My absolute favorite scene is when they are in dance class and Violetta's friends come up to her and ask what's up with her and Leon, and she tells them, well, we kissed. And her friends just start screaming excitingly and dragging her away to tell her everything, and this scene just brings me so much joy. This might honestly be one of my favorite scenes in the whole show, if I'm being honest. I also happen to have like memorized every scene like in the Swedish dub, because when I watched this in Spanish I could just like mouth what they say in the Swedish dub. So it's safe to say that I have watched this episode way more than other episodes, considering that I seem to know every line in a dub. And I mean, besides all the Leonetta stuff, there's also a bunch of like funny shenanigans going on that just makes this episode very entertaining. My next favorite episode is episode 69 of season 1. And the thing is with this episode is it focuses a bit on one of my least favorite ships, in fact my most hated ship, which is German and Angie, because Angie kissed German to like not make him see Violetta pass by, and now there is drama because Angie is dating Pablo, and he's like, well, you kissed another man, and that's not cool. And German decides that he's completely in love with Angie because she kissed him, and now he wants to kick out Jade, and yeah, I don't like that. But the thing is, I feel like when it comes to these shows, you can't really expect every single scene to be perfect because they focus on so many different characters and storylines at once, which means that you just need to focus on the characters and storylines that you like. And besides that plot, I think most of the scenes in these episodes is wonderful. You see, Violetta and Federico are the only two left for the finale of this the U-Mixed reality show. But the thing is that Violetta just can't seem to get away. Because German wants her home, rather he wants her to go with him to some event, but she fakes being sick so she can stay home. In the plans of like leaving after he leaves, but he never leaves. And she is running late because she's gonna be in the reality show soon. And shenanigans happen because first Tomas comes to her house and wants to talk to her, and she's like, but I need to go, and he's like, no, I need to talk to you right now. And then shenanigans happen because then Francesca comes also at the same time, and she also wants to talk to Violetta, and Violetta's like, but I can't talk, I need to go. So she hides both Tomas and Francesca behind a wall, and they are like mimicking a fight in the background because like they're like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And when she finally gets there, she is still like really stressed due to like almost missing it, so her performance is not that well, but it doesn't matter because she sings the song that Francesca wrote to her about their friendship, and she sings by looking directly at Francesca, and Francesca just gives her this little smirk, and it's really adorable. And you don't care that Violetta accidentally plays wrong at some parts because she's just doing this for Francesca. She doesn't care about any competition anymore. And listen, in a previous episode, Tomas sang a love song to Francesca and she looked like she was constipated. And she's supposed to canonically be in love with Tomas. But she gives this look to her best friend that sings a song that she wrote about their friendship. Anyway, Federico ends up winning for obvious reasons, but I think Violetta is pretty relieved because it would have been such a mess if she won this competition, considering that she then would have to have a U-Mix career and stuff. Next favorite episode is episode 71. This is the episode where Violetta finally finds out that Angie is her aunt. Let me tell you that some of my peers from middle school stopped watching the show because they got too frustrated that Angie never told her secret, and they even, like, asked me years later, did Angie ever tell her secret? Like, did she, like, tell her in the last episode or something? No. She finds out before season 1 ends, and then they have the best aunt and niece relationship for all of eternity for the rest of the show. And I just love it so much because of that reason that finally Violetta has learned the truth. And Ludmilla deserved to be expelled for like showing that video without Angie's consent when she reveals that she's her aunt. But at the same time, thanks to Ludmilla, we finally got it revealed. Violetta finally found out, and her and Angie immediately like reconcile, and they just sit with photo albums and look through them, and you just get the sense of what if Angie had been there for all of Violetta's upbringing? How much easier Violetta's lives would have been if Angie just was allowed to help her as she grew up. I think I'm obsessed with this episode because I am just like obsessed with alternate universes in which Angie like grew up with Violetta, or like scenarios before Maria died and Angie like babysat Violetta when she was really young, so Violetta doesn't remember it but Angie remembers it. This episode is so wholesome. And then we got episode 80, the final episode of season 1. This is probably the best season finale in the whole show. I have been thinking of making a full review video about this episode alone. We'll see if I do it. Comment if you want to see that. But this episode has it all. Germain wants to move to Qatar with Violetta, and all of her friends are saying goodbye. And what I really need to focus on is actually the fact that she gives a book to Camilla and she gives her dead mom's necklace to Francesca. And then Francesca stays behind so they can talk in private, just the two of them. And oh my god, I really favorize their friendships. All of Violetta's friendships are important, of course. But I love her, Francesca's friendship the most, okay? We also get a final decision between Leon and Thomas. Who does Violetta choose? She chooses no one, and it's kind of funny because she and Thomas kiss at the beginning of the episode, so when she says that she picks no one, he's like, oh, you're only saying that because you don't want to get Leon sad, right? And she's like, yeah, no, Thomas. Because she was leaving anyway, so her kiss with Thomas, I interpret her just seeing what could have been, a goodbye kiss. But for Thomas it was oh my god, she kissed me, so now it means that we are dating. And she's like, but I'm leaving, so no. And it's so beautiful that Angie has put down an MP3 player for Germain that he can where Violetta sings, and he hears it and he sees her dance in front of a juice stand, and he realizes that this is her dream. And then they come to the show, and first of all, Violetta runs into Thomas, and she's like, yeah, I'm staying, and he's like, well, I'm going back to Spain. And he is making very sure that this has nothing to do with her. And I actually think that this is true due to, I think this was really the actor himself talking, because the actor really didn't get into the role of Thomas, and he had too much homesickness and wanted to go back to Spain. So when he says that this is not about you, it's not Thomas talking to Violetta, it's the actor talking about Violetta the show. It's not about the show, it's him that had too much homesickness and he wanted to move back to Spain. And also, all of the show numbers are so good. I have zero clue what Luca and Rafa Palmer is doing on the stage, because honestly, the kids are shining way more than them. Luca is only here because, I guess all characters need to sing or something, I don't know. And Rafa Palmer is just, well, he's a pop artist, so I guess why he wants to be here too. But the kids are way better at singing than either of them, honestly. The Junto a Ti number lives rent-free in my head. Especially when the girls notice that Violetta is backstage and Camilla drags her out and all three just hug and finish the number together, and it's so wholesome. And then of course we have Ser Mejor, which is arguably one of the best performances and songs in the whole show. And if this show only had one season, this would be the very best way to end the whole show. But the show didn't end, it had 2 more seasons. We're gonna dive right into season 2, which I don't think I'm going to surprise anyone when I say this is my favorite season, so I'm going to talk about a lot of episodes here, starting with episode 1 of season 2. But you know what? I have already made a full review to why I love this episode so much, so I will not talk too much about it actually. I just think it's the best season opener in all of Violetta. and the vibes are just so fantastic. But my next favorite episode is actually episode 2 of Violetta season 2. And this is due to one single thing, and that is the karaoke shenanigans. Every time they are at this karaoke, so much chaos happens, and it's the funniest thing ever. We get an introduction to Marco, which has his introduction in the most unhinged way. He goes up on stage, sings Francesca's song, dressed as Francesca, then he goes up out in the audience and pulls Francesca up on stage. The kid had guts. The only real odd thing about this episode is when Violetta is about to go to the karaoke and German stops her and he jokes that she should put on some pants instead of her skirt. Which is the oddest comment ever, especially because Violetta has gone around in skirts for an entire season before this, and that was never a problem, but now, for some reason, it's a problem that she wears a skirt. What the fuck, German? My next favorite episode is episode 15 in season 2. In this episode, we get Violetta being really mad at Diego, so she goes and vents to herself in the sidewalk, and Leon comes up on his motocross and he's like, "Hey, you wanna take a ride with my motocross?" And the two of them go on a little date together, and they find this iconic bench beneath a tree, and they almost kiss, except they don't. But even if they didn't kiss, little me, I remember I rewatched this episode over and over again just because of this almost kiss scene, because I shipped Leonetta so much as a child that an almost kiss was like really hot to me. Plus that both Leon and Violetta think about this moment over and over again. Even if they didn't actually kiss, they often think back on this moment for some reason. And this episode, I say, would be like the calm before the storm. Like, it's the last episode where Violetta and Leon just get to be a cute couple together before things just start going downhill. My next favorite episode is episode 25. And this episode is so fun for so many different reasons. So, everyone is going to this party that Broadway, Andres and Leon is going to perform at. But Violetta knows right away that she won't be able to go because she knows her dad will never let her go. And Francesca is like, "But, well, I can stay home with you. We can, like, watch a movie together or something." And I have kept thinking about a scenario in which Francesca and Violetta are home alone together and watching a movie, and she was there to react to everything going on at home. But anyway, it ends with Violetta saying, "No, go have fun at the party. I'm going to be fine." And Francesca's like, "Okay, but call me if you need anything and I will be there in a second." And then she kisses her on the cheek, and Violetta turns around and looks at her longingly, and I am so fucking obsessed with this scene. And besides that, at the party, so much fun is happening. We got people singing, we got Lara coming there, we got Ludmilla, like, not really having any plan, she's just there to dance, so she and Nati is just like being girlfriends in the audience for the whole night. And we also have some scenes with Camilla and Maxi. And the thing with Camilla and Maxi is that the romantic pairing between them was really random. I absolutely agree with that. However, I can't lie when I say that I was kind of into it at one point, at least in these specific episodes. Like, I am completely fine with them just being friends, but in these specific episodes, the show just makes me feel a bit interested to see how they're going to, like, evolve this. And then I think that the show did a really weird turn because they made them kiss in a later episode and then they never talked about it ever again. So it, like, ended really weirdly. They were kissing and they were like, yeah, I didn't feel anything either, ha ha ha. But it kind of felt like someone was lying of the two of them because of their delivery, but I don't know. But the most memeable part of this whole episode is the very end, when Violetta is all alone in the house and Diego calls her and he's like, I know that you're home alone, so I'm going to visit you. And she's like, no, Diego, shut the fuck up, leave me alone. And he's like, I'm already here, knocking on the door. And it's like, open up, it's me. She sighs and goes to open the door, and he has a fucking clown nose. You don't expect it at all. The next episode that is one of my favorites is episode 42 of season 2. In this episode, Violetta has lost her voice and is like basically mute for the entire episode, which leads to some interesting shenanigans. We got Leon trying to talk to her and she can't answer. We have her wanting to talk to her dad and he doesn't even let her say anything because he's like, okay, you're not gonna talk to me? Okay, fine. And she's like, she doesn't even like, even if she could talk, she didn't even have a chance to like say anything at all. And then Marotti comes to her house and he's like, you need to sing. And she's like, I lost my voice. And then they go to the doctor, which, by the way, Violetta by the time season 2 comes around, I guess is 18, considering she turned 17 in season 1, and Francesca has a birthday both in season 1 and season 2, which means Violetta also should have a birthday, even though we didn't see it in season 2, which in that case means that she has turned 18, which means she doesn't need an adult to follow her to the doctors, but I guess she still has to. But one of the funniest scenes is when Diego wants to have a video call with Violetta and she can't speak. So Camilla has to mimic her voice. And it goes as well as you can think it goes. And the episode also ends with them having a pillow fight and a sleepover, and it's so cute. The next episode is episode 52. I was about to include 51 as well, but 52 is really where I enjoy more of the episode. But as I mentioned, none of these episodes are episodic, so they follow into each other. So basically, last episode they said goodbye to Francesca because she was moving to Italy, and then now, in the beginning of episode 52, it turns out she's back. She wasn't going to move to Italy. So the first scene of episode 52 is just her and Violetta reuniting and Francesca telling her how much she loves her and how her dad told her that he didn't want her to leave Violetta behind. And everyone is so happy because Francesca is back. Besides that, it also has one of the funniest scenes in the whole show, where Elena has come to visit Natalia at the studio, and she starts to sing in Ludmila's face while Nati starts to dance in the background, and it's so ridiculous and it's amazing. This episode also starts the shenanigans with Camilla deciding that she wants to try to find a boyfriend by taking pictures of every boy she knows and putting them in a collage book and putting different colored dots to see how compatible they are. And it's really only Camilla that thinks that you can just decide who you have a crush on. And this episode also starts Federico's hyperfixation for 50s rock music. He literally dances down the stairs, super ecstatic, and it's I have been listening to this kind of music for several days. And it's all he ever wants to talk about. This episode also has the iconic scene where Diego and Leon walk in the park, and Diego says that something happens when we sing together. I honestly think that the last 30 episodes of season 2 is the golden age of Violetta. There is not a single episode that is really bad in any way. Next favorite episode I have is episode 61. Now this episode both has the funniest scene and also the saddest scenes in one of the same episode. Angie has just found out that German is Jeremias, so she is heartbroken and crying in every single scene that she is, and I feel so bad for her. But at the same time, they like cut to her and German having like dramatic arguments, and then they immediately cut to this.
Mueve tu cuerpo, Mati, mueve tu cuerpo!
We got Gregorio deciding to break into the studio at night because he decided to at least he attempted to make Diego his spy, and Diego wasn't really into it, and then their conversation was heard over a CD player, so now Gregorio tries to take back that CD player. We also got the plot of Anna randomly coming up to Francesca trying to be her friend, and Francesca is a bit intimidated by it, but she also decides that she wants to give Anna a chance. Also the scene with Angie just crying in her car, and you just you feel so bad for her. Angie deserves so much better than what she gets, honestly. Also we have funny scenes of Camilla trying to call Seba over and over again, and eventually her friends throw her phone back and forth. So every other scene I laugh my ass off, and every other scene I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sad. So it's a really chaotic mix of scenes in this episode, and I love it a lot. Honestly, I am a big fan of all of the episodes from episode 60 to 70, but my other two big favorites in this is episode 64 and 65. They go together because they both have a lot of scenes from the karaoke place. Basically, Marco is trying to win Francesca back by going back to the karaoke place. So everyone is there to try to set them up together again, and there is so much fun shenanigans happening at the karaoke. Besides the plot with Marco and Francesca, we also have this boys versus girls plot that Camilla and Broadway have, because Camilla wants to prove that girls are better than boys, and Broadway is like, okay, but you know what, the boys are better than the girls, and then they have a whole competition about it. There's this whole thing with Ludmilla being jealous that Nati and Federica are singing together, so she and Nati have a cat fight in the background. Also, Lara decides to sing, and Violetta has a full-on bisexual awakening of hearing Lara sing, and she's not sure how to process it at all. God, these two episodes together are so entertaining. My next favorite is a bundle of 3 episodes, 67, 68 and 69. And this is only because of the Leonetta plot. So Violetta quickly finds out that German is Jeremias, and she gets just as heartbroken and betrayed as Angie. But the thing is that Angie has left the country by this point, so Violetta has no one to talk to about her troubles. Diego tries, but he can't really comfort her in the way that she needs to. But do you know who can? Leon. And all of their scenes are so wonderful together, and the two even daydream a whole song together, and this is not the first time or the last time they do this. I especially love the scene in episode 69 where Violetta just sits and mopes on the staircase, and he comes up to her with just this comforting face. He's always there for her. He's always her knight in shining armor. And season 2, sure, Leon and Violetta, they have their troubles, but they always win me back when they have episodes and moments like this. I don't know, it's just before and right after Violetta and Leon start dating each other again, those moments there, right before and right after, they are what really captures me with them. We also have some funny scenes, for example, Gregorio walking in on Diego when he's changing shirts, and he goes, "What is this? A half-naked man?" And I quote that so much. And also most of the dance rehearsal scenes are also really great between all the characters. They bring a lot of comedy and a lot of tension in always. As I said, this is really like the golden episodes of Violetta, like, they have so many good episodes in a row. And then my next favorite is also a bundle of 3 episodes, and it's episode 72 to 75, aka the Madrid arc. It is hard to just talk about one episode in the Madrid arc because it is so perfect. Like, these sets of episodes is really, they give you everything. We have content with Diego and Violetta, Leon and Violetta, Diego and Leon, Francesca and Violetta, a bit of Francesca and Leon too, and I guess a little bit of Francesca and Diego, but honestly not really that much. Anyway, if you are a multi-shipper, or if you simply love the dynamic between all of these characters, then you will have a blast and enjoy pretty much every single scene. We have Marco sending flowers after flowers, and honestly, it was a bit overbearing. He sent a bit too much flowers, but at the same time, Francesca did appreciate that, even if she didn't say she did. But Jesus Christ, Marco, stop sending flowers! It's like, there's other people living there. Also, side note, but because there were so many flowers, I am wondering if Francesca and Violetta had like to share Violetta's bed because there were too many flowers in Francesca's bed. But yeah, like, Marco has some big dedication to like win back Francesca's heart. Like, you gotta give that to him. And like, oh my god, the scene in episode 75 when Violetta finally has learned about the plan that Diego and Ludmilla had, and she just goes out on stage and she just sobs in front of the audience. It breaks my heart so much. And then Leon comes and he saves her and they sing Podemos together, and my heart is just like melting every single time. And that was all of the episodes in season 2. I told you it was a lot of episodes. And we're now entering season 3, which will not have as much episodes, but there will still be some. Okay, so I had to think for a while about my favorite episodes of season 3, because I don't think I have any favorite before episode 29. And I think it has to do with the fact that already in the beginning of season 3, I felt like something was just off. And like, in recent years, I have appreciated season 3 much more. Like, there's a lot of funny moments from these episodes, but not any that I would say is my favorite, because even if some of them have some great scenes, there's also a lot of scenes that I just don't like or are not as interested in, that makes the episodes not as fun. But like episode 28, in my heart. I know that I accidentally said episode 29 before, but I mean 28. Sometimes it's hard to like keep track on which is which if they come next to each other, but it's 28, I have double checked now. So in this episode, Francesca just tells Violetta off that she doesn't want to do the Roxy and Fausta thing anymore, and Violetta has a moment where like she and Angie is like studying, but Violetta can't concentrate because she keeps thinking about Francesca and what Francesca said. And then she's like, yeah, Francesca's right. And Angie's like, why are you thinking about Francesca when we are studying? What is going on? And then Francesca arrives at Violetta's house, and Violetta is this close to just dropping the whole Roxy and Fausta thing. And like, that plot could have like ended right here and now. But Francesca goes, I have Fausta in my bag. And suddenly Violetta just goes right back into it. She is sent right back into the madness. And the two go to the studio and they are about to change when Ludmilla notices that someone is in the aquarium. So she opens the door. The two very awkwardly put on their clothes again. And Ludmilla is like, what did you do in the aquarium? And they were like, nothing. What are you talking about? And like Ludmilla 100% thought that they were like making out in there. I am 100% sure. And the Roxy and Fausta shenanigans that happened then when they like are auditioning to Gregorio and stuff, it really makes me feel like the Roxy and Fausta plot is so stupid in so many ways. Except for when they aren't spying on Leon. When they are just by themselves doing shenanigans like singing in front of Gregorio and like pretending to be in the show. Those are really fun. Roxy and Fausta really work when there aren't any boys involved. And like this plot could have been so good if it was just like Violetta and Francesca like escaping from their normal reality and like exploring themselves in these secret identities, and it wasn't anything about like spying on their exes or anything. I would have loved that. My next favorite episodes is a bundle of episode 30 and 31. This is Priscilla and your mom's wedding and everything that happens on the wedding. We got a slowed down version of Sies por Amor. We got a dramatic scene with Jade and her and Angie like bonding for once. We got a like implied off-screen something not child-friendly happening between Diego and Francesca because like he just randomly comes up to her, goes, I wanna tell you something, and then like they just leave and we never find out what was going on, but considering how Francesca reacts, you can tell that something's gonna happen off screen. We have Nati more or less confess that she loves Ludmilla. We have the weirdest Esto no puede terminar performance like in the middle of the celebration. I don't understand why they need to have this song or this performance here. But it's like, it's so random, it comes out of nowhere, and she's just there in the middle, she doesn't know where to go, so she's just standing there while they are dancing. And we got that dance where everyone switches partners, and Leon and Violetta have like some conversations where Leon says that he's in love with Roxy, and Violetta is like, fuck, he's in love with me. And then she like gets jealous of herself. Also in the background, Francesca is dancing with German and she's like dancing really crazily and he wants to get out of there. Honestly, with Leon and Violetta in season 3, I have just learned to not take anything seriously because I think much of the Leonetta plot in season 3 is like pretty dumb. So I have decided to just not take it seriously to save my own sanity. Like, I can take them pretty seriously in like season 2 because they were great in season 2, but in season 3 I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna take anything seriously, they're just dumb teenagers, I'm just gonna let it go to keep my own sanity. But yeah, these 2 episodes at the wedding, a lot happened, a lot of conversations happened, it's a lot of fun actually. My next 2 favorite episodes is in a bundle of episode 48 and 49. Episode 48 starts with Clement. I know that Violetta calls him Alex. I will never call him Alex. He's always Clement to me. I don't care that he has a secret identity. He is always Clement, okay? Anyway, Clement tries to kiss Violetta and she is very clear that she does not she's not interested. And like, say what you want about Clement, but at least he can handle a friend zone like a champ. I also feel like Violetta has had like trauma from previous boys that have been interested in her, so like she is like very quick with like turning him down so that nothing happens. We get some fun songs at the hotel. We got that in the previous episode too, but I like the song a lot here as well. I think the funniest thing is when Violetta sings Underneath It All and every other character like is so into it. They all grin like crazy, they bop to the music, and then comes Leon and looks so pissed, and it's such a funny contrast. And Violetta keeps having these really intense daydreams about Leon. Like, she has been into him before, but in season 3 she is into him. And these longing dreams don't only come at night anymore. And she also misses Francesca a lot, and there's a scene in episode 48 where Camilla is trying to make her and Francesca become friends again, and she's like, can't you just listen to your heart? And Violetta is like, yeah, I couldn't sleep last night because I kept thinking about Francesca and Leon. The struggles of a bisexual girl. But then she finds Francesca's letter and she calls her and they reconcile in the most cutest scene imaginable. And the girls just hug and they both just calm each other into the hug and then episode 49 it just continues. And I can also say that for that episode, they are simply just friends again, they celebrate, and it's really wholesome. But also, Francesca is about to go to Italy again. Francesca is always on the way to Italy, and it was only at one point when they were trying to stop her from moving. But the difference here now is that Francesca herself wants to move. It's not that her parents are forcing her, she herself wants to move to Italy because she wants a solo career. So everyone is just preparing to say goodbye to her, but it also turns out that the producer who wants to take her to Italy is kind of a fraud, and it turns out that the only reason Francesca wants to go with him is if he helps the studio, but he plans to absolutely not help the studio, he's just fooling her. And we also have this kind of melancholy scene with Jade because she's about to get married, and yet she's so sad. And it's so heartbreaking because this should be her happiest day, but it's not. And you really feel empathy for Jade. Gosh. Episode 49 also had this really, really cute scene between Violetta and Federico. And honestly, I love the little sibling-y moments. And I have heard some people getting mad when you call Violetta and Federico siblings because they are not actual siblings, and I guess some people want to ship them, and you know what? It's fine. You can ship them if you so choose, I guess. Nothing is stopping you, but for me, I see them as having a sibling dynamic, and let me, because there is so few people that have siblings in DCLA shows, so I take what I can get. Which means that either you have to really fixate on the few siblings that exist, or create sibling dynamics of people that aren't actually siblings, or create next generation OCs where their children are siblings, so you have an excuse to write sibling dynamics by doing that. Anyway, it's a scene where Violetta reflects on the fact that maybe she and Jade have some more things in common than what she thought, because Jade has not gotten over German, and Violetta hasn't gotten over Leon, and Federico's but you know that Leon is obsessed with you. My next favorite episode is episode 64, and I call this Leonetta being complete and utter idiots episode, and I love it so much. Basically, the plot of this episode is that Leon and Violetta, they have kissed and they know they have feelings for each other, but they decide that they need to be friends forever. And then there's this scene in Violetta's room where Violetta tells her friends that she and Leon is going to be friends forever, and they just burst out laughing. And then Leon comes and visits her and they burst out laughing even more. And then Leon and Violetta's conversation is that essentially they are turned on by each other, but they decide to not do anything about it. We then proceed to have the scene where Violetta, Ludmilla and German watch a movie together and have family time. And we have the iconic scene of Violetta just smiling like an idiot while Leon is playing on stage and her friends are I think she's high. what are we going to do? And we also have Ludmilla, like, deciding that she will be nice now, and she, like, hugs all of the girls, and Nati almost faints over it. God, I love this episode. And my final favorite episode is episode 77. First of all, this is the last episode of that Priscilla is in, and she has a really great departure. Because she doesn't just disappear, like, they claim that she is going to, like, a mental hospital to get some help. And honestly, this was, like, the best ending for her. And we have a really sweet scene with Ludmilla and Violetta, where Ludmilla comes in and is like, can I sleep with you tonight? And they like, oh, it's so sweet. And, of course, the best scene in the whole episode, Camilla wanting to practice the kiss scene with Nati. I have talked about this scene so much in other videos that I don't think I need to talk about it a lot here, but it's literally like changed my worldview when I discovered this scene. And this was all of my favorite episodes. Of course, there are a lot of episodes that I also enjoy, but these really like stuck out to me. And as I mentioned, it's pretty hard to really like have one specific favorite episode because all of the episodes tie into each other. They all end on cliffhangers, so sometimes your favorite episode should be like in a bundle, like maybe you like 2 episodes in a row because they continue the story that was started in the first episode, and like you need both of them at the same time to really like complete a story arc. But what are your favorite episodes in Violetta? Please tell me, because I am extremely curious, and I think that judging from my favorite episodes, you can probably tell what my main focus is when I am watching this show. Also, I will do one for Soluna, I guess, sometimes, because if I do one about one show, I need to do one about the other show. The thing with Soluna is that I have, it has been less years since I first watched it, so I don't have as many established favorite episodes as I have with Violetta, because I have watched Violetta for like 11 years in a row. So like I have more and more like established tastes of what I like, which episodes that I like more. But I can do one with Soluna too, because again, if I do it about one show, I need to do it about the other. It's just fair. Thanks for watching, leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.